Eris had never expected to fall in love with a phoenix. She had been sent to the Winter Court by the Raven Queen, her patron and goddess, to serve as an ambassador and a spy. She had sworn to uphold the commandments of the Matron of Ravens, to respect death, fate, and life. She had learned to abide by the laws of Mab, the Queen of the Winter Fae, to honor debts, loyalty, and winter. She had been content with her life, until the day he arrived. He was a phoenix, one of the ancient beings that carried the spark of creation within him. He was immortal, reborn from his own ashes wherever he died. He was a rebel, a fugitive from the Summer Court, where he had been enslaved and tortured by the cruel King Oberon. He was a firebrand, a warrior who wielded a sword and shield with skill and courage. He had escaped from his captors by using his last resort, igniting himself in a burst of flames that burned everything around him. He had hoped to find a safe place to recover, but fate had other plans. He had landed in the middle of the Winter Court, surrounded by ice and snow and hostile fae. He had been captured by Mab's guards, who suspected him of being a spy or an assassin. He had been brought before Mab, who was intrigued by his appearance and his power. She decided to spare his life, but only if he agreed to serve her as her champion. He had refused, defiantly declaring he has no loyalty but to himself. He had been thrown into a dungeon where he awaited his execution. Eris had been assigned to interrogate him, to find out his secrets and motives. She had approached him with disdain and disgust, seeing him as an abomination and the enemy. She had tried to question him, but he had answered with sarcasm and defiance. He had mocked her for being a servant of death and fate, for being a bird in a cage. He had looked at her with admiration and desire, seeing his beauty and his mystery. He had noticed her raven-like features, her dark skin, her curly hair, her brown eyes. He sensed her hidden magic, her connections to the Raven Queen. He felt her curiosity and compassion, despite her cold demeanor. He tried to charm her, to make her laugh and smile. He had told her of his adventures and his travels, of the wonders and dangers he had seen. He had asked her questions about herself and her life, showing general interest and respect. He had fallen in love with her at first sight. Eris had resisted him at first, refusing to let him get under her skin. She reminded herself of her duty, her faith, of her deference, and her conflicts between them. She had told herself that this was a liar and a rogue, and that was doomed and dangerous. But she also listened to him, finding his stories fascinating and entertaining. She had also answered him, revealing bits and pieces of herself and her past. She had smiled at him, feeling his warmth and humor. She had gradually fallen in love with him. They had continued their meetings for weeks, each time growing closer and more intimate. They had shared hopes and fears, their dreams and their regrets. They had kissed and caressed each other, feeling their passions and their tenderness. They had faced their challenges and enemies, knowing that their love was forbidden and doomed. They had been discovered by Mab's spies, who reported the affair to the Queen. They had been confronted by Mab herself, who was furious and jealous. She had given them an ultimatum. Either they would end their relationship and serve her faithfully, or they would die by her hand. They chose to die together. They escaped from the dungeon with help from allies they had made among the Fae, and they fought their way through the Winter Court's guards and soldiers, reaching the portal that led to the mortal realm. They had hoped to find a new life there, away from the Fae wars and politics, but they were not fast enough. Mab had called up with them, and at the portal's edge, she unleashed her wrath upon them, summoning a storm of ice and snow and threatened to freeze them alive. They embraced each other one last time, saying their final words of love. He ignited himself again, using his last spark of life to protect her from Mab's magic. She joined him in the flame, using her last breath to whisper his name. They died together in a blaze of glory. But they were not gone forever. He was reborn from his ashes as a phoenix once again. She was born from her ashes as a raven, a gift from the Raven Queen. They flew away together, free and happy. They lived together in a new story.